In this illustration of practice, we'll look at how Jacob, a technology mandatory teacher, is implementing a focus on vocabulary in his Year 8 Agriculture and Food Technology classroom, within the context of the whole school approach to literacy. While the illustration of practice uses this particular unit of work as an example, the resources, teaching strategies, and approach to the teaching and learning cycle can and should be adapted for all subject areas to support students' vocabulary development in a curriculum context. Jacob's Agriculture and Food Technology unit of work focuses on growing food and provides students with an opportunity to explore agriculture in Australia and to develop an interest in how food is grown. Food Technologies focuses on the use of resources produced and harvested to sustain human life. Students learn about the characteristics and properties of food. Agriculture, food and fibre production, focuses on the investigation of managed environments such as farms and plantations. Jacob accesses the Learning Resource Hub for explicit teaching strategies related to vocabulary. He selects the Stage 4 resources, alert for opportunities to differentiate for the particular needs of students within his class. He reviews the resources, noting progressions links which match his targeted areas, and then scans the activities, identifying which could be adapted to his class and text. Jacob understands that, when using the universal resources in the classroom, it's important to consider the needs of all students in his class, including Aboriginal and EALD learners. EALD learners will require explicit language support and scaffolding informed by the EALD Enhanced Teaching and Learning Cycle and the student's phase on the EALD learning progression. Teachers can access information about supporting EALD learners and literacy and numeracy support specific to EALD learners. Given the range of students in his class, Jacob also recognises that it is important to adjust learning to cater for all students' learning needs. Learning adjustments enable students with disability and additional learning and support needs to access syllabus outcomes and content on the same basis as their peers. Teachers can use a range of adjustments to ensure a personalised approach to student learning. Assessing and identifying high potential and gifted learners will help teachers decide which students may benefit from extension and additional challenge. Effective strategies for high potential and gifted learners help teachers to identify and target areas for growth and improvement. A differentiation adjustment tool can be found on the High Potential and Gifted Education website. Using his knowledge of the Reading Comprehension 3 to 8 guide, his understanding of the text complexity document, and the focused learning progression indicators, Jacob selects a text that he thinks will be accessible and engaging for his students, will introduce topic concepts, and will provide opportunities for the explicit teaching of Tier 2 and Tier 3 words. Jacob understands that this text will support student understanding of syllabus content and develop students' vocabulary knowledge. Having chosen his text, Jacob begins planning for his explicit teaching. He begins looking at the document Vocabulary and Context Teaching Strategies for Years 7 to 8. He also notes that the resource, Exploring Words Using Morphology, will build morphemic knowledge to support vocabulary development and reading comprehension. The WordClimb Vocabulary Routine resource will also be useful for exploring precise use of related words. These resources and teaching strategies can be used in all subject areas for explicit vocabulary teaching in support of students' vocabulary development. Jacob also consults the Guide for Selecting Vocabulary for Explicit Instruction from the Learning Resource Hub to consider his focus on Tier 2 and Tier 3 words. He considers which Tier 2 words will support student development of more precise and sophisticated vocabulary, and which Tier 3 words are integral to student learning of topic concepts. Jacob uses the SEEC model available on the Learning Resource Hub to plan for explicit teaching and select the words he will specifically target. The SEEC model outlines a process that can be used to explicitly teach vocabulary in any subject area. Select 2 to 4 words to specifically target during teaching and learning. Explain. Define and explain the words, say the word, write the word, and draw attention to the spelling. Provide a student-friendly definition, provide examples of the word in different contexts, and provide opportunities for students to clarify their understanding through questioning. Explore words through a range of teaching strategies. And consolidate. Contextualize and consolidate knowledge of the new vocabulary. When selecting which words to explicitly teach, Jacob understands that focusing on the similarities, differences, and overlapping meanings of Tier 2 words promotes high expectations and supports the development of the student's own precise use of language in speaking and their understanding of vocabulary to support reading comprehension. Jacob selects the Tier 3 word biodiversity as it will be crucial to student understanding of this topic. Jacob follows the SEEC model, explaining the word biodiversity to his class. He says the word, writes the word, and draws attention to the spelling. He provides a student-friendly definition. With his understanding of one of the learning progression indicators for vocabulary at level 9 of understanding texts, Jacob will explore and consolidate the word using the Exploring Words Using Morphology vocabulary routine from the Learning Resource Hub. He then uses the resource to draw attention to the function, morphology, and synonyms and antonyms for the word to allow students to explore the word further. The resource provides an opportunity for students to explore the range of words that can be created when prefixes and suffixes are added to a word root. Jacob leads a class discussion. He provides a definition of the word diverse and records its meaning in the middle column of the table. He includes a selection of known prefixes in the column on the left of the word root. As part of this, he draws students' attention to the prefix bio. He includes a selection of known suffixes in the column on the right of the word root. He models how to brainstorm words that can be created by combining the prefixes and/or suffixes with the word root. He then models how to define the words they've created. As students participate in activities to explore and consolidate their understanding of morphology, they'll continue to deepen their understanding of the relationships and connections between words. This routine will also support opportunities to practice using new vocabulary through listening, speaking, reading, and writing activities. As part of his preparation for exploring the Tier 2 words he's selected to teach, Jacob has decided to use the Freya model as one of his resources, which he's also chosen from the Learning Resource Hub. A Freya model is one of many graphic organisers that can be used to develop and deepen student understanding of vocabulary. The Freya model can be used as an opportunity for students to further explore previously taught vocabulary. As they participate in activities to explore vocabulary, they'll continue to deepen their understanding of the relationships and connections between words. This will also support opportunities to practice using new vocabulary through listening, speaking, reading, and writing activities. Traditionally, the Freya model has the word or concept in the middle of 4 boxes. The 4 boxes can be titled in various ways, including definition, essential characteristics, examples, non-examples, synonyms, antonyms, morphology, and function. A Freya model is best used following explicit instruction as an opportunity for students to further explore, consolidate, and deepen their understanding of vocabulary. It can be used to develop students' understanding of Tier 2 and Tier 3 words. The titles in each of the boxes on the Freya model can be adapted according to need and teaching focus. After explicitly teaching the meaning of the word organic, which is crucial for student understanding of the topic being studied, Jacob has students work in pairs using the Freya model to provide them with the opportunity to explore the word further. He uses a think aloud to demonstrate the use of the model, providing 1 point for each of the boxes as an example for students. He encourages students to use their devices to complete further research into the key term if they wish, to enhance their understanding. The completed Freya models are then displayed on the classroom walls, and students undertake a gallery walk to explore the responses across the class, which helps to expand and consolidate their understanding. Jacob recognises that he can further enhance students' vocabulary knowledge by alerting the science teachers to the topic he's teaching and the vocabulary he's selected for explicit teaching, as there may be opportunities for them to explore these words and reinforce student understanding through the context they are teaching. Jacob decides that a word climb activity will benefit his students as they develop more nuanced understanding of the words they're learning. The word climb vocabulary routine is a visual graphic organizer that can support student development of precise language use. Students explore how words convey different shades of meaning by sequencing words along word climb. The word climb resource can be used to support explicit vocabulary instruction and student exploration of Tier 2 words in any subject area. Jacob wants to ensure that he strategically plans for opportunities to use and build new vocabulary throughout his teaching of this topic. Jacob has chosen the focus word extreme in the context of this topic to support students to understand and develop vocabulary for discussing weather impacts on crops. Jacob decides that students can work together in pairs to brainstorm words to place along the climb. He explains that words to place on the climb should all be the same part of speech, for example, adjectives or verbs, and that words should be organised from low modality to high modality. Jacob facilitates a class discussion on the exact meaning of words and the context in which they can be used, in terms of the topic being studied and possible meanings in other subject areas. The completed word climbs are displayed on the classroom wall for further reference by students. Next, Jacob draws on a strategy from the Vocabulary in Context Teaching Strategies for Years 7 to 8 document from the Resource Hub to support his observations of student vocabulary development in this context, linking words to images. He provides the class with a range of images relevant to the topic. In small groups, students brainstorm words associated with the images, drawing on the vocabulary Jacob has targeted to create a word bank. This allows students to demonstrate their understanding of the vocabulary for this topic. As an added benefit, whole class sharing of the brainstorm can support further vocabulary development. During his planned lesson sequences, Jacob has been making observations to monitor the impact of the learning on his students. He now uses the Vocabulary Recognition Assessment tool to monitor student recognition of high-value vocabulary. He also accesses the Vocabulary Knowledge Assessment Scale tool, which provides students with an opportunity to show the breadth and depth of their vocabulary knowledge, the leveled question prompts acting as a continuum of knowing and understanding of each focus word. He notes that some students need more support to consolidate their understanding and use the targeted words in different contexts. For consolidation, Jacob continues to focus on vocabulary in his lessons. Through further discussion and background knowledge, closed passages, writing activities, building word walls, classifying and reclassifying, he embeds multiple opportunities for students to have exposure and experience with this vocabulary. Jacob plans to use the Vocabulary Knowledge Assessment Scale tool again to check for impact. As well as using the strategies and activities in this professional learning, teachers may use the short assessments for reading resources to measure the impact of their targeted teaching. Similarly, check-in assessments, student work samples, teacher observations, formative assessments, Best Start Year 7 and NAPLAN data can also be used to monitor and assess reading comprehension. Using Plan 2, student progress can be mapped against the National Literacy Learning Progression with a focus on understanding texts 9, 10 and 11. Reflection on these assessments in combination with teacher, peer and student feedback will inform the next steps in teaching and learning. Before we finish up, take a moment to reflect on what we've covered so far, as well as on your own practice. Jot down some thoughts on page 2 of the reflection template. For more information, take a closer look at the resources on the Learning Resource Hub, where you'll find, for example, the 2 reading guides, Effective Reading K-2 and Improving Reading Comprehension 3-8, as well as teaching ideas for vocabulary and related areas such as comprehension and fluency, along with the assessment tools such as the ones used in our scenario. Teachers can join the Literacy Statewide Staff Room in Microsoft Teams, or explore the Literacy and Numeracy website, which houses a wide range of resources and professional learning to support teachers with best practice. The QR code on screen will take you there. The Components of Reading is an example of professional learning from the Literacy and Numeracy team, providing teachers with a greater understanding of the components of reading. If you have any questions, please contact us via email at literacy.numeracy@det.nsw.edu.au.